What is the new hardware?
Wix, our hardware.
No, your new hardware here.
Our new hardware.
Your phone.
Your
I thought-
phone.
I
Your
thought-
phone.
It could take weeks, you know, it's me. See, here it is. 4:59 PM,
How's your son doing?
Thursday.
How's your son doing?
I mean, you heard it.
So did you transfer stuff from your old to your new?
Yep.
The
And there it is, 4:59 PM, Thursday.
Você have another one that's around to.
How did we not hear it?
I don't know.
Maybe we did hear, we just didn't register it in our own
We're
brains.
having too much fun talking about how old people are.
Alright,
Kids these days.
it's 5:30, it's time to start.
Didn't you pass
Yes.
him, didn't you give him a gavel?
What the
Was he need a gavel?
Yeah. He needs a gavel. He just make more noise. Jeez,
I-
don't you encourage him. Do not encourage him.
Don't try to encourage me. You wanna go around the room? There, Mr. Jim, you
Okay,
wanna
I'm
start?
Jim. I brought in some infrared stuff today, infrared LEDs. These are both 12 volt. There's a 12 volt supply for that.
Yeah.
And these are actually the LEDs on this one I noticed are a bit dimmer than, you can't see them as well. But they still put out the same amount of light. It's just they're in a different visible area.
Hmm.
So that's it for me.
Well, this week I finally bit the bullet and decided to segue from Cincy Bell's 5 megabit DSL to Spectrum's 200 down and 10 up cable. So I'm in the process of getting that condition with a new router and so forth and so on. So far, the one thing I can say for it, I actually didn't get it fully connected up until yesterday afternoon about 4 o'clock. It turns out that the previous user in my house had gone inside the Spectrum box, at that time Time Warner box, and disconnected the cable, and the tech that came out didn't have a key for the box that you could open it up. So I got everything hooked up in the house. It was working beautifully, but no internet. So at any rate, the one thing I will say for it, it is really fast, particularly on the download. But it's a screamer on the download. So
And at times, I'll get 240 out of it.
240 for the 210. Yeah, they also have 400.
Yeah, I don't pay
400.
for that.
400. I'm sorry.
I don't pay for the higher speed.
Yeah, it's only another $20. It's not very expensive. I mean, my total tab per month is, I think, just slightly south of $50.
That's not bad at all, because I pay 45 for mine.
It's what?
It's slow.
DSL speed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
Since
They'll
the
hit
bell.
you up in a year for an increase of $15.
Yeah, but you know what you do? You go back in and talk to them, and they do it again. But my DSL is also about $50 or $60, something like that. So, you know, it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to keep the DSL for a while just to make sure nothing dies, and then eventually I will make a decision. But I understand from some people that they have multiple routers. What'd you say you had 3?
I said nice shirt.
Pardon? Oh,
I told him nice shirt.
no. How many routers do you have?
Oh, do I have? Oh, I have 2.
I thought you said you had 3.
No, I had 2. Somebody else may have told you that. I have one for my IoT stuff and one for my regular.
And the service provider on each of them is?
My service provider is fiber optics, Cincinnati Bell.
So you come off the same modem for both routers?
I have my system has I have a switch and then I have a switch going to another server, and then I go into my. I have a
Firewall.
firewall. Yeah, yeah. So it's a little convoluted. But.
Okay.
Might-
Well, at any rate, that's what I've been doing this week, so,
I'm Leroy. I'm in charge. I have an optical flow sensor. I play with GPS again. I don't like GPS anymore. I'm done with GPS
so optical flow
can we know why?
sensor.
because GPS is a pain in the knee.
So what are you flowing?
Optics.
So this
It-
isn't,
it-
this
it-
is not water or airflow?
No. It this is it works like a mouse. Like an optical mouse.
Okay,
So it's looking at the changes
My wife.
okay,
on the surface.
okay,
And an optical mouse has that little red light
yeah,
that helps it see it. This doesn't, which is a little bit of a pain, but we'll show more.
Marcus Davis. Wow, what have you been working on? Yeah, besides that, I actually been working on one of your projects.
On one of my
Yeah,
projects?
one of your projects that was I was inspired by that. It was the SPIFFS, basically the
the file system, yeah.
file system for Arduino or
The-
ESP8266. It has a little bitty file system that allows you to store data in there, and it remembers it. So if you start the system back up,
and
you
it
can read
sort of
right to
acts
it.
like a real file system.
Yeah, it acts like you have a little hard drive basically hooked up to it, or at least a.
so is this a flash, or is it flash memory, or?
It's actually flash, but it is it's basically a little flash drive section
Yeah.
that's sort of, it's almost like a BIOS in Windows. It sort of sits
Yeah.
off to the side, and
Yeah.
it's intriguing because you can put whatever you want in there.
You name it like a regular file, and you access it like it's a
How
file.
big is it?
Yeah, it's
It depends on the microcontroller,
Right.
but somewhere between like 2 meg and 16 meg.
Oh,
I mean, it's tiny.
it's not very
I
big.
can remember when 2 meg was
Yeah.
sounded like a lot of.
You're next.
Vicente, I was on vacation last week in South Carolina. This week I was trimming all the landscape around the house and still have some work to do tomorrow. Nothing about electronics. I have an old project. I just picked it when I getting out from the house now. And I don't remember if I show it or not. It's a ESP32 as a touch or gesture detector.
I
mean,
sort of remember it.
Oh, we can do it again. We can do
Yeah,
it.
we can do it.
I think I already bring it.
Art wasn't here. He can-
I made the sensor using copper.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen it before.
See if I can work.
Okay. I guess you're next.
I was working with a shaper head on my radial arm saw. And the finger count is still 10.
That is good.
That is definitely an accomplishment.
The push stick, however, bit the dust.
Oh, really?
It's good you were using your push stick.
Yeah.
That's exactly what your push stick is for.
So it's 1 for you and 0 for the push stick?
I'm not counting my eggs on this. Every time I fire that shaper head up, it just scares the holy hell out of me. The body that holds the blades is solid, or pretty solid. You can see it, but the blades extend another 3/4 of an inch, and you can't see them. So you have the perception that is where the cutter is. And in actuality, the cutter's out here.
Wow.
So if you go on everything telling you, oh, it's safe to reach over there closer, you would be wrong.
So your finger ends up shorter.
It ends up across the garage.
Yeah, really. Oof, might not find
Yeah,
it.
that,
I saw a guy, one of Gail's friends, I saw, and it could tell if somebody touched the blade.
Saw stop.
A saw stop, and it shoves a piece of aluminum into the blade. I said, doesn't that mess up your blade?
Yeah, but yeah, but yeah, really. What's the
stops
term
the
of
blade.
it? That's right.
It stops the blade. I'm Ken, I'm here today.
You present?
Yes, I am.
And Gail, and I'm here too, and, at the end of the month, Cincinnati Bell has, it's a pay thing, cause I think you get like a little meal with it, but they're gonna do a tour, yeah, like pizza or something like that, but they're gonna do a tour of their, museum upstairs. If you haven't been there, it's like
Downtown.
a Wednesday night.
When is this?
Downtown Cincinnati,
Mm-hmm.
When?
and
It's the last Wednesday of the month, so they'll have information on it later, but that's
put
it's
it in
supposed to
there.
be kind of a nice little museum, a history of,
Cool.
telecommunications stuff, and it's not generally open to the public, so.
That's cool.
cool.
They heard about you though.
Was that?
They heard that you dumped them.
I didn't dump them yet. I
okay.
am going to.
Well, don't dump till after the
What I
end of
do?
the month.
Do you want to take like 5 minutes or so and
Oh.
go over a little bit
Yeah.
more
Yeah, we can talk about it.
or whatever?
We can talk about where we are.
Oh, what did I do?
They're right here.
I didn't do it.
I got a question for you, by the way, relative to the website.
Questions are free.
Okay, good.
Answers my thoughts.
Yeah, that's right.
Correct answers are even
The,
more.
the document that you send out just before this meeting with all the information and basically almost the agenda and where is that stored in
Go to the meeting announcement, or go to the mail message that I sent you.
okay.
And
I don't want to find it, Mike. There's a lead on to that. Couldn't that be a part of the website?
We think so much alike.
See?
It's not even
It's
funny.
scary.
It's scary.
Nope. I don't want it to be part of the website.
And why not? What is it part of now? How about that?
It's
It's a document. It's a cloud document. It's a Google document, cloud document.
Okay, maybe we can have a link to it or something.
They've got a link to it in the meeting announcement.
That's my point. Is what we're trying to do is bring everything in one location. So therefore, if someone else has to maintain that, in your absence or demise, no, just kidding. But
Somebody else can.
Gail laughs. She's laughing about
Somebody
it.
else can maintain it.
No, we're
I've got access to it.
Well,
Anybody that wants to,
and
anybody
that-
that's the administrator can have access. I just go and say, who wants to have access? Ready to eat.
But
to
Grand
eat.
Poobah, that's not the thing. Is that what you really ultimately want to do when this thing goes beyond Jim, which it may never, but is to have everything in one place. That's the goal.
Who's forecasting your
No,
demise?
there is. I'm forecasting my own demise. That's why Leroy's training here. But no, I have a death grip on it, and I don't want that over there.
Oh.
This is a bulletin board. To me, this is a bulletin board, and other things you can do creative. And you want to keep a copy of it over there, that's fine. But the people that have the keys to it, if we need people to have keys to it, I got no problem with that. I'll grant you access to it. But it's just a document.
Don't get ruffled.
And you have read access to the document.
Oh, I know I do. I know I can find it and use it.
It's public read.
Right. I'm just making a point of saying, is to try to get everything in one location.
I know.
Well, you don't need
But
to-
that's
the
the
main thing.
That's not the objective.
Well, it's not.
No.
Well,
The objective is
You just need a link to it. You don't need to have it all gathered together. Just having links to it.
it's not a bad idea. The
Thank you.
overall objective is right now, and maybe later on we'll want to do that, but right now is, you know, if you come in here, you don't have to sign into anything, you don't have to do anything. Access to that document is pretty restrictive. If you're and like if you wanted access to it, I grant you access to it, no problem. But it's very controlled and no third party. It's just me. And when I go, he's going to be in charge, and he might put it in there. But I ain't. Right now, it's going to be there. You can take a copy, put it there.
Yeah.
It's like Meetup.
Yeah.
You know, you have administrators to meet up.
Right. No, I have no problem with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just.
You should read that note I got in there. Things not to mention around Jim.
Yeah.
That's another mailing distribution list. And who has access? But access to the meeting announcement. That one can go. Maybe we'll go over there Sunday. But I don't want to force everyone over there. And I guess you don't have to. If it's
No, you can link it. I mean, if you can link to the current and make the current whatever the current is,
Yeah.
if it linked to the
A
current,
live page.
yeah, that'd be
the
So
thing that we've-
whenever you update one document, it
Yeah,
updates
exactly.
everything.
The thing that
We have a live link.
Yeah.
we fight with, and you may be able to talk me over there actually, but the thing we have fought with, where it is I would like to have the news on a separate page, and we could just pop it up on that page, and whoever needed access to that page could do it,
Well-
and it would just pop up.
to
Okay.
update the news. You mean?
To update the news,
Yeah.
and somebody could be in charge of the news, or Leroy could do the news, and we could keep it a separate page. And in fact, I was thinking about making the news a separate tab where you just go click if you want to see the news, and it would bring up the news because the news is getting big.
Well, that's partially me because I just put a bunch of interesting crap I
I
find.
know.
Well, the chicken thing, I think, is priceless.
Yeah, I've
all I did was
eliminated that from change.
on the projects page here. I created
that's
a new
fun.
category called news,
It was excluded from
and
the
then I
offer.
just copied and pasted what
The
was
links.
in the meeting announcement
Oh.
right over to it. So I made a blog posting of just the news, and we can do that once a week if we really wanted to. Not saying we will,
Right.
but we could, because it was just a copy and paste job. I really only updated one thing, and then I copied everything over.
And I think to Jim's point that he made the other last week is that we can do all of this, and the consumption is so low, it's sometimes not worth all the extra work if you're putting a lot of work into it. So that's partly my point, is that we want to minimize the amount of effort that goes into a lot of this, the management part of it. And again, but you've been doing it forever, and I'm not going to start. Whatever you want to do is fine. I'm just bringing up points and saying that in my world and in my head is trying to say, if it's something that we have to do over and over again, my wife gets upset when I organize the cabinet because I want to look in the cabinet at a glance and know what to buy at the store. It's that same thing. It's saying, okay, minimize the maintenance of the thing as much as possible, because to your point, I mean, point well taken, is that you put all of this out there. It's nice. Oh, you can go look at it. Oh, this looks so good. It's so sweet. But how much consumption? I mean, who's actually consuming it? You know, I mean, they're like, okay, you may spend hours on something that's like, okay, nobody ever saw that. Yeah, you know, I mean,
It's the old 80-20 thing.
yeah.
When you're
It probably works.
80% of what your customers do is where you should be.
Right.
And if you got 20% doing this, you don't care that much about it. You're not going to put 80% of your time on.
Yeah, and then like I say, I'm just talking. So I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
and you know, and we're looking at things that are will improve the situation, easy maintenance, and give people access if they need it.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, I kind of like the idea of doing that, but really, this was supposed to be a replacement for G+.
Sure.
which I think is going to turn into a good replacement, but we never posted the meeting announcements on GPS.
Right. No, I understand.
We
that.
never did.
Right, and I understand it, and the only reason I brought it up is just the simplicity. Period.
Yeah, and the thing of this, if everyone starts migrating to this tool, we're gonna hype it. We're gonna be hyping this
Yeah.
and see if we can get it. If everybody starts using this tool, guess where the meeting announcement will end up?
Yeah.
It'll be on this tool.
Yeah.
Well, and you really already have access to put the announcement there, because I gave you writer access to write to the projects page.
That's another step, though.
But it's copy and paste. It was all that page I showed you. I just
Yeah.
copied it directly from one page
That's
to the other.
that's just another step.
Yeah, and I'll say my final words on this. So far, I mean, it's you know, the little interaction.
Yeah.
Him.
I just
Mike.
forgot his name. God.
That guy down there.
Yeah, that guy down there, the troublemaker. That's right. No, Mike was on it a lot, and I mean, it's pretty. It's working. I mean, it's so far to me. It's been the initial beta testing part has worked better than any of the other things that we've looked at. I think.
There
yeah,
was a little bit of a learning curve.
Yeah, of course.
Because we've been testing it as admins, and we have full access to do everything, and then when Mike comes along, he has access to do nothing, and we had to figure out how to make it happen.
Yes, it's looking good,
And that's what happened. I mean,
we're getting a little participation. This is good.
And we walked and we tried to do blogs, and we figured, okay, we can't you ran into the same thing I ran into, that you can't have two blogs on it. And the other option of having another blog, it was horrible. I mean, it was like they have another tool out there that you can have two blogs, and it was like, that ain't gonna work. It was awful. So I mean,
So projects may end up changing to something else, but right now projects still works, because your projects are your blog postings, and somewhere. So if you click on news, it'll show you just the ones that are category for
Right.
news.
Right.
And if you click on Arduino, it'll show you all the ones that say Arduino, which happen to be my two postings, because I put category tags in there.
Yeah, I noticed that you did that at first. Like, what the heck was this going on?
Yeah.
Then I realized, okay, that's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah. So there's the category postings. When you actually go and create a post, it's a little, when you click on these three little dots right here, you click on choose category, and because I'm an admin, I think I can add new categories. I'm not sure if you can. You might try it just to try it.
I was quite satisfied with the way you guys left it last time I looked at it. Everything that I wanted to do worked.
It's
Yeah, we got you out of the
being
weeds,
slow.
I guess. And once you got out of the weeds, or actually, it was us putting you in the weeds because you didn't have access to what you were trying to do.
But basically, if you click on those three little dots right there, you can select a category and change a few of the other settings that you have access to. But it's a real easy.
That's number one.
It's easy to use it. You want to say anything else about it?
Nope, I think it's good. We just keep going with it. I think we're on the way.
Well,
I think
you guys had talked about on one of the forums about under the members category there,
Oh, possibly changing how that works.
the file
Yeah.
folders. My comment was that the search engine associated with the files only does a search of the people who post it and the title of the file.
Right.
So if you have 150 files regarding a new project and I don't remember the file name, I can't find it unless I look at every one of them. And I find that to be kind of a pain.
You did see where I posted a link to one of them, though, right?
A link to one of them.
You put a picture of a boat, and I
That
posted a
That
link.
was an Iowa class battleship going through the
Yeah.
Panama Canal.
Well, I actually created him a folder and put that boat into his folder. And
Okay.
actually, and I guess I emailed,
Yeah, well, I had the folder already,
yeah.
Well,
Did you?
I created,
but
From-
my point is this, and I'm sure everybody's run across individuals who name files with their own archaic secret identity pack. You know, it's XYZQ2. Well, it's not descriptive at all as what the hell's in there. And if you can't search the contents of the file,
Then you gotta open them one at a time
yeah,
and look at
and
each of
if
them.
it's code, then you're looking for a particular subroutine or something like that, then you gotta go through
well,
hundreds
okay.
of files.
If you're looking for like a particular piece of code, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
not events, forums. If you create a new post, either in the blog or in the forum, there is actually a code tag down here somewhere.
It says code block.
Code block. So you can make code. I don't know if we highlight this and then tell it it's a code block. Yeah. So you highlight it and then tell it.
That's the person who's posting it, not the individuals who's searching it.
But if you're posting a good title, then you can find the code that you're looking for.
That's the if, yeah.
The search kind of sucks, okay. Maybe in the future they'll change that.
Words that you use.
Do I?
I'm just thinking,
Words
the
for
file
the
category,
search.
the file folders are
I
nice,
don't remember the name of.
but of
When you
limited
put,
usefulness.
make an article
if
and,
you
and
can't
create a
tag
lot
with
of
them.
words.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
topics?
That's
No.
kind of 20%. I think for now, we've done a good job with the blog portion.
When you
and
put a YouTube, you choose a lot of words or phrases
Yeah.
that people can use to
Yeah.
look for your.
Yeah, there's a description, there's
No, it's
a
not-
title and a description.
Not
so.
the description. He's talking like tags.
Tags,
Oh, I know what
tags,
he's talking,
tags,
yeah,
tags.
I'm just saying.
Tags.
Yeah.
I don't
The
know if
search-
we can. I don't know if we could tag this. I don't remember seeing any.
Yeah, and I don't think you can. My point was is that I think it searches on the title and the description. So,
Okay.
you know, if you put it
I'll
up in the
remember
description,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my feeling is it's just a little. It's not going to search inside the documents. I mean, it doesn't have that capability. It's just not going to do PDF. Then it has to know PDFs, Word documents, and
So it doesn't search content of
content of the
It doesn't
documents.
do the
no.
content.
Yeah, if you go back, Leroy had mine up there for a second ago, and I had a test one.
Gotta click on the right thing.
Yeah. Okay. So if you click on me there are two items. One is a JPEG. That's the Iowa class battleship going through the Panama Canal. Tight fit.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Boy, if the temperature changes at all, the thing will get stuck.
Yeah.
On a hot day, it gets stuck.
Yes, you need to
Okay,
check
the other one was a
temperature.
test search document, and I just made a Word document that had my name in it. And asked to search for Mike's, just as Leroy's doing now.
And nothing.
No results.
No results.
Yeah, well, but we don't think it's going to ever search inside the content, ever.
I understand, which
Ever.
means that naming the files is the key to this if you're gonna actually ever find anything.
Well, that was
We're getting down into the weeds again.
yeah.
We're back to blogs, okay? The blogs is primary. This is a good thought future on. Right now, let's concentrate on the blogs. And my topic is our project work should be in the blogs now,
Yeah.
appropriately named in the blogs. You guys see?
But it's
Well,
gotta be,
there's
it's gotta
already-
be named so
It should have a good name, exactly. And that's the important part. We're gonna have to name it. And And that, I renamed mine because my name was stupid, okay?
Well,
We need-
and because you can't put a tag on that, or a title, or a
It-
description.
Unless you don't want to share the file that you're sharing with the entire world, even you can click on the three little dots and click share and then grab the link to that file. So I could go up here and I could go paste. That will paste the link to, should paste the link to the file anyway. See, so now you highlighted the one file that you want them to actually see.
Yes, but that's, again,
That's one extra step.
No,
Well, it's
no,
the
his point
person
is,
who is
right,
pushing, not
that's,
the person who is
right,
searching.
exactly, right.
I know.
And I won't dwell on it, it's just, if this isn't the place to share files because the limited
I don't
way-
think, I think, I agree with what Marcus was doing, but I don't really think this is the right tool for sharing files.
And right, it might be the right tool for blogging, it looks good for
Do I?
blogging so far.
Well, it doesn't matter. The files just kind of their file system's just kind of bad. This one happens to be a JPEG, but
Well, there's JPEG and a Word doc.
so
Are
but
those the only two?
No, you can post any type of file.
you can post any file,
Those are the
but
two that I put up there.
this is still relatively new, and we're still working bugs out and whatever.
And-
So
And I'm not, I think you guys did an admirable job. I'm not complaining about the work you've done, I think it's excellent. It's just a pet peeve, because I have been left with coworkers leaving me 1,000 files I've gotta hunt through because of the way they name them. And if you can't search through the contents, that's a lot of work.
It's a little tricky with doc files because it's not a plain text format. So it's like, if you want to be able to search through all of those, then whatever is actually storing the files actually needs to have something that can read doc files.
I recommend GitHub as the tool for it. No, really.
You what now?
I recommend GitHub as a tool for projects.
for sharing files.
Well,
Or
again,
project, sharing files.
Again, the reason, to his point,
If they have
is the
project
reason
tools.
why GitHub works is because those are text files. There are text documents. GitHub
Not always.
well, it doesn't search through. I don't think it
Well,
searches through.
it doesn't
Now,
do content.
it'll do content of the code.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it'll
Okay,
from the
so-
search engine. But
Alright, so there's a problem with binary files in Git, and the thing is, Git is designed to work with text files
Right,
primarily.
exactly.
You can put binary files into Git, but what ends up happening is that every iteration of those files needs a new copy, and so
Yeah.
because Git is decentralized and it makes a copy on all machines that have a repository. I've done this before, where I've done this for like things like game projects and whatnot. Basically, if it's not a text file, and if it's in a project that goes through a lot of development, that file size is going to multiply.
Okay, I withdraw GitHub. But meanwhile, back at our main thing,
but it's like a
80-20.
scary. No, but let me the file system. I think the file system works because I guess my view of the file system is that if I want to store things that are germane to a project, for example, I store it in there. I come in here and maybe want to present it in here. It's actually on the system. It's part of our record. It's part of our record. Now, the fact that somebody can't search outside of here, that unless they're part of this, they're not going to be searching in there anyway. That's not public. That file system is not public for someone to search outside of here. And so my feeling is, and again, maybe your feeling of what the file system was for is different than mine. Mine is saying that it's just it's a record, just like we had when I was doing that presentation. You said, "Oh, Marcus, we can bring up your file system." You went in there and you brought up the file, and that's to me is what that's for. And if I want to bring something and show it in the meeting, I can put it in there. Leroy can bring it up. You can bring it up, and it's there. So go ahead.
The only difference with what you just said and what Jim's file is, Jim's on Google Docs. Docs will read.
Sure.
So this, I mean, if we clicked on this doc right here, I think it would just tell us to download it. I don't think it would actually show us what it is.
Doesn't open it?
I think it does.
Does
it's
it?
smart enough to open it.
I'd be.
I think it's smart
Oh,
enough. yeah.
okay, it opened it.
No, it opened it.
Yes.
No, it opened it in Docs.
Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. That's what I mean. It's smart enough to know that it's a doc file, so it's going to go open it. Just like Word. I mean, if you on your PC, it's going to go. Oh, it's a Word
Well,
document.
Well, it's
and
storing
what-
everything in
then what
Google
you're-
Docs anyway.
Do what?
Uh-oh.
It's storing everything in Google Drive anyway. It looks like did you just upload the file to the site?
Well, maybe that's actually that extension I've got on Chrome. So it's making it-
Right.
It went to
right.
a
Exactly.
static. Hang on a second. I see this URL real quick. It's going to.
It did go to a
APIs,
Google
extract,
API.
Oh, we're getting into.
Oh.
We're getting.
Talk
we're
about the
getting-
real weeds.
We're getting
to the
chromated.
dirt.
We're getting Googleized
Edits
here.
will not be saved. Let's see if I can
You may not have ownership of the file or something.
Save now.
update your documents. File is saved in an unsupported format.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, maybe not then.
So it's going to save it to my PC if I try
Yeah.
to save it.
Yeah. I think it's to your point. I think if I tried to open that file on my computer, it would bring up Word.
Yeah. I don't know. We can.
Yeah.
The file system, that's not really the primary thing right now, so.
Something background will keep you can
Well,
we kind of have an idea of what
Yeah.
might be good.
If I could just make one more comment on this, and I'll drop it. Frank, about a year ago, brought in a moisture sensor. He talked about programming a microprocessor to sense moisture for his sump pump. And he has copies of the code for that. And so it's something that I would like to look at. I don't want to have to go find Frank and have him tell me what was the name of the file that he posted a year ago.
Well, you need to use my format at the bottom where everyone has a folder because you can search all of them.
Yes,
And the text.
but what happens if Frank has 50 or 60 files in it? It's the same
You
thing.
can,
I'm
you
just
can
saying,
search all of them by your keywords.
this doesn't have keywords.
Well, if you use Google Docs and like the folders that we have here, there is a key there to search everything. There is a search mechanism
Okay.
built into Google.
This is not a document management system.
No, it's not.
Okay. I was clear.
No, it's definitely not a document management.
But it's something. It's a good point, and I'm just
our-
pointing out that
our
the
5
folder
minutes.
thing that I have, you can search all of them. You can search by name. You can search by everything, because you can get up. It is a file system, like he's pointing out.
Are you taking my picture?
No, I'm looking at my security camera.
He was
Okay.
he was taking a selfie. He was doing a selfie of himself.
We have ran way over 5 minutes.
Well, I
But-
apologize for beating on this, but as it sets now, we're aware that there are limitations in this.
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't look good for this or that function. I think. Okay. Next.
We have some other possibilities, but this may not be the right possibility. So you want it's all you.
Show this.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. Touch it.
Este-
Touch it.
Initially, I designed this to for my dog to put inside a window, and the dog from the outside can activate a ring bell inside the house just to go in. But now
This
he
is a
learned
doorbell
to,
for a dog?
he learned to bark when he wants to come in.
Well, he finally learned to don't bark.
He barked.
I know my dog doesn't bark either. Now he
Just once he say what,
But he's starting to whine now. Just start.
and he hits the bells in the knob. There are bells.
So where's the
Yeah.
sensor go?
No, the sensor was planning to be inside the door is a full glass door,
Mm-hmm.
and the sensor was decided to put inside the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And when the dog comes with the nose closed, it activates the alarm or something.
So he didn't have to touch it. He just
He
has to
doesn't-
present
yes.
his face up
Yes,
to
you
the.
need some. I tested with the dog itself.
Get your nose up against there.
That sounds like dog abuse to me.
But I am using the capacitive sensor of the ESP32, but they are used for touching. But I increase the sensibility a lot because I create a big surface sensor and design a moving threshold. You know,
Threshold, right.
we are integrating all the time the real signal, and you create a threshold a little bit under the value of the capacitance, and then it reacts.
And you said it works through glass?
Yes, through the glass, to whatever you want to put. You wait for a while. You need to, now it's sensing, but it's also moving the threshold very slow.
So it's auto
You know,
calibrated.
yeah.
It's auto calibrated.
Now he sense change. Use
He didn't touch it.
So the
That's
white
magic.
thing is the simulation for
PVC.
glass?
PVC.
Oh, PVC is equivalent to the glass?
That's what I.
Yeah, but you can use more stuff
Yeah.
over this.
So can you see through a book, for example?
Huh? Excuse me.
Probably not.
I
Does
believe
it
Yeah.
have to
maybe
be, have
too
to be
much.
transparent or not?
What's the dielectric?
It's all about the electrical value.
Yeah, it's the capacitance is what you're sensing.
Works like a capacitive touch.
He's now moving the threshold, but it's very slow. It's using a filter. So sometimes it will turn off, and now you can supposedly detect the.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or you can remove it.
So it has to be something conductive that comes close to it?
No,
That's not conductive.
Something with some kind of.
It's conductive.
of
Oh,
You're
his-
conductive.
your body have a capacitance to ground.
Yeah.
You are just changing the capacitance value from
Oh, that I understood.
things, you know.
So
You're just changing.
the two plates of the capacitors, both
Well,
of them
one
have
plate.
to, both of them have to be somewhat conductive.
Yeah, my body is conductive,
Okay.
and this is the sensor.
So
It's
the
conductive.
dog is becoming one plate of the
Yeah, one
capacitor.
plane. He's in some kind related to ground by humidity or whatever.
Okay.
His dog's name is Dielectric.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah? So the two plates are the circle around the outside and then the one in the center?
The outside is ground,
Yeah,
and
the center
the pin
is-
of the microcontroller is connected to the plate inside.
I got it.
And if you wait too long, like leaving that sit there, does that stabilize on that item?
Yeah, the filter is it's an average of the last 20 samples, and then this create a level, and I use 90 9 point something of the last sample and 0.05 of the new one. It means that it moves very, very slowly and very stable.
Pretty cool.
Now
Yeah.
I have my phone here and I can detect through the phone
Cool.
because you are changing your threshold.
You're moving threshold. That's cool.
Now, how long does it, if you put that on, if you do something different, and I say never mind,
It depends on the difference of the capacitive value of the first object and capacitive value.
well,
of the
no,
second
it's,
object.
what
It
I'm
creates
saying is
its
that
own-
how long does it take? Okay, for example, if your test item stays on there too long and all of a sudden it changes, so how long do I still have to leave it on there for it to recalibrate
No.
itself? You know what I'm
No,
saying?
it's less than a minute.
Okay.
But the idea is will be stored in the door, in the glass door.
Right.
And after a minute, it's already calibrated.
It's already done. But
any change?
What if your
with the
dog?
sense-
But if your dog comes and leaves his face up against it?
Well, the idea is to have maybe 3 inches of distance
Yeah.
to sense the dog.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay,
the
I
idea.
got you. So it has to almost be on top of it, touching it almost, and
Yeah.
then it'll start
But
recalibrating.
there is there is a backup battery, and the sensibility changes a lot when you disconnect this
Oh.
because the in some way the ground of the circuit is related to the ground of the network of the.
Right.
Now it's less sensible a lot. You need to almost touch.
So is that a poly battery or what?
It's
LiPo.
lithium
LiPo.
ion battery.
Uh,
The charger is already in the ESP32.
Okay.
Works connected.
That's cool.
Originally, the idea was to use this in a very low power consumption and send a message using ESP now to another one and have a message in the kitchen or something. Troy is in the back door or something like that.
So the idea is it would operate for a very long period of time
Yeah,
on the battery.
just with battery. Yeah. There is another chip that costs 30 cents that do the same function automatically and can be used to interrupt the ESP32. Turn on it. He must be in deep sleep mode,
Mm-hmm.
and this chip almost use no energy
Right.
and will be better than this approach. I already tested it. I have another board with the chip, and it's great. It's more sensible, more precise, more fast, and
So
more
it-
distance of.
It's not an ESP32, it's something else.
No, I have it's a
It's
tiny
an external
chip
chip.
Sensor.
with 3 legs or something, and it's connected to a pin and interrupt the ESP32. It wakes up and send the message or do whatever you want.
So what's the current of that chip?
I don't remember, but it's
sleep
very,
current?
very,
Is
very
it a micros or?
micro.
Is it really?
I don't remember this. There
So
are-
it's down in the leakage range for the circuitry
Yes.
there, basically.
you-
If the
you
board
have
gets,
years of
if
use.
the board gets humid, it would be in that kind of a range.
Maybe you use more than that.
Could you put some of that stuff in your folder?
I can. I have all this.
Or you can put it on the blog.
Put it in your folder, because I seen that code
Okay.
actually too.
Would be
And
my
that-
first
and that sensor.
project. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That's right.
See, you're trying to catch them and throw them into the
That's right,
blog.
jam. It's like, oh, you brought it. What is that?
I don't know. It's magic.
So what is the purpose of the power line there? Is that just to keep the battery charged?
This one
Yeah,
is just to charge the battery, but
okay.
it's more sensible with this cable. You have more distance. So
Yeah.
maybe I need to create a more wider ground plane around.
What is that,
to
just
have
PC board stuff? Or what-
This is a tile of I bought in excuse me.
phenolic.
Yeah, phenolic. The tiles from the floor, I just cut it and put the copper
It's
tape
a floor
over it.
tile
Yeah. It's
that happens to
what's
have a
the
conductive coating on
Commercial
it?
vinyl tile.
Well, he's got stick-on copper coating.
The copper coating is added.
Yeah.
The-
You
I
just stick
thought
it on
you
the top
had
of the
etched a
tile.
board there
Is it
somehow.
PVC?
No, it's what's the name of those tiles?
Ceramic.
Ceramic.
No, it's flexible, plastic flexible.
Oh, it's flexible. Oh, linoleum or something like that. or
Linoleum.
something, or something
Linoleum,
like that.
vinyl,
Yeah,
something
vinyl,
like that.
Something like that, and it has like a peel part
Oh,
to
going stick.
Self-adhesive floor tile.
Oh, okay.
They cost under $1 or something for one square.
Now, I know this is only vaguely related to this, but everybody's gotten into an elevator that has the capacitance type
Yeah.
key sensor.
Yeah.
A friend of mine who's now departed discovered that when he got into the hotel, if he put his finger in, it triggered every floor. They would all go out and they could select the floor he wanted to go to and go directly to that. And he thought, well, that's pretty cool. I'll try that in the morning when we're going down. He does it going down, except they didn't go out and he stopped every floor.
He's making friends.
So going up it did that, but going down
Yeah,
didn't
it
work.
didn't. And so everybody that got onto the elevator afterwards would stop and would go, and everything's illuminated. And they'd look around the elevator and say,
Well, he
how
did
did this
that.
happen? And he's sheepishly over there in the corner. It's very obvious as to who was responsible.
What's this for?
This is what was an experiment to certify the median in the high 15 laser.
Mm-hmm.
I just designed a ICO side room with 3 parts like a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give you the files there and how it maybe a nice demonstration stuff or something.
Cool.
You can scale, it's a VXF file, you can scale for different plastic thickness, different sizes.
You want to talk anything about your little lights there, or do you want to do the optical flow thing?
Just mention them, I guess. I mentioned it briefly. These are some of the infrared lighting that I've used. This one's 24 watt electrical consumption. Gets pretty good light. I used it on the driveway till I determined that I wanted to use visible light to intimidate whoever was there. I wanted them to be able to see it.
Yeah.
And with one of them blinking now, it's very good. Very bright, very irritating. Nobody comes in my driveway without being intimidated. This is one of the old style discrete LEDs, and that's an amp. They're pretty good and they're pretty invisible. And this is a camera, 960p, and the lights here are darker. They're harder to see than these for whatever reason, different frequency, I guess.
Okay.
And this is a 12 volt supply for all of those. The comment that you made earlier about your files, these are the folders for the club members.
I'm having trouble seeing them because my screen's moving a little bit.
Do you see that? One of them says Vicente and Jim and various members have.
Yes.
Down at the bottom, it says project listing,
Those
demo
look
history,
different.
club parts.
2 of them.
This is everything.
Yeah, I know this
Yeah,
now. I
it's
was
2 in the
thinking in
center.
terms of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
future.
Those are sensors.
Yeah, this is
Oh,
a
they're the sensors.
potential
Day
future
night sensors.
for saving files. This has the search engines built in, and that's what he's saying. It's a file system with the search engine, which searches the name and the contents. Okay, just
I like
mention
the
that
lens.
fast.
I want the lens.
You want the lens? Now those are individual lights with a focus of light 30 degrees. They're They're set for.
But no, all of the LEDs are the same, right?
All of the same bright.
Two of them in the middle looks different. You say that it's because the angle? Or?
No, he was saying they're Art said they were.
Some place or
maybe
another
sensor.
in here, there's a sensor, a day-night sensor, because I have one of these in my garage. And when it goes dark, this comes on. When it comes light, this goes off. But I don't know for sure if that's what those are. Get the proper.
No,
price.
I feel that there are 6 LEDs there, right? 6.
Yeah.
But 2 of them in the middle
Looks
looks
different.
different.
Yeah, they're rated for 30 degrees dispersion. I don't know what that means, but it looks like they are focused somewhat. Now I have a one that's about this big. That's about 60 watts electrical equivalent to incandescent, and it has the motion detector. It has the not motion, but
Yeah,
people
right.
detector, and it was $5. Now, I got like 4 of them for $5 a piece, shipped to my house, and they're pretty bright. They can't tell the difference between night and day though. They're strictly somebody's there, the light comes on. But for $5, I'm going, my gosh. And basically 100 watts a bulb. But that's the new lamps are getting bigger now, so you don't have to have this 30 bulbs in a thing. I'm sure that's quite inefficient.
Well, if nothing else, it's a lot more of assembly labor too.
Yeah. And those are a little bit the newer ones, the bigger ones like this. They're a little more expensive. They're going to be 50% more than these guys. These are $6-7. You might have to pay $10 or something like that. Those are IR. There's a reason they're a little bit more, but they're getting down. I got 100 watt for like $10, and it's a panel, and it's not focused anything.
Is the yellow
It's
panel?
just
No, it's not yellow. It's white. It's very bright white. But you see them, they're like $10.
I gotta ask, why are you so into this? Have you had people steal stuff off your porch for?
Chainsaw out of my garage. Came back to the rear garage. Front porch 3 different times. Mailbox 3, 4 different times. And it's just
You stole your mailbox 4 times?
they opened my mailbox in the middle of the night at 1 o'clock in the morning, and the guy's going down the street.
There,
robbing the mailbox.
you must make a box
Monroe's
the mailbox
has
with a
little
GPS
more crime than
and
you would
Aurora,
think, right?
to check where the box
Check where
goes.
the box is, yeah.
this is not something to advertise when you're trying to sell your house.
No.
Alright,
Okay.
are we ready?
Wow.
Are we ready?
Okay.
So this is an optical flow sensor, which it's actually the same sensor that's used in most optical mice now, with the big difference being they've added a lens to it so that you get some distance, because an optical mouse is about yay far off of the
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be right, almost in contact.
So this works pretty much it works the same way as an optical mouse. And this little demo, I had a issue with it, and it turns out that I was trying to make the focal length too long, I guess, or too short. And once I put the lens clear down onto it, it actually started working.
So you built the lens stack yourself?
No, it came like that.
What is the nominal distance?
Well, it actually, it's actually working pretty far. It's a lot further than what we needed to work. So, this actually was one of Mark's ideas to try to use an optical flow
Yeah,
sensor
he told me.
on the thing that he's working on. So it actually is working. It's working better here, I think, because there's light.
I'm a little confused. What are we looking at here? We have a red dot.
We have a red dot. You see when
You're swinging back and
there is
forth
nothing.
75
You have a problem.
degrees.
Yes.
Chair.
There is not a red dot anywhere. You have a problem.
I'm moving the red dot up on the screen by moving the sensor.
It's a floater in his eye.
It's like moving the cursor with your mouse. That's his
I can
mouse.
go up, I can
That's
go
his mouse in
down.
the hand. He moves it back and forth.
I can
And
go left and right.
He's swinging 75 degrees and we're going.
Well, that's because the code is only limiting the movement very short.
Okay.
We could change the.
So when you go to the right, the dot moves to the right. When you go to the left, the dot moves to the left.
In theory.
Well,
the just move it. Can you do it on the table and it's more indicative of what's going on?
Well,
No?
it's got to see something.
if it's too because of the lens now,
Oh, it's got
it's
to be
too
distance.
close.
Okay.
And that was what I told Mark too. Is we kind of find the right lens for the project that he wants to do, because he's only talking about a couple of feet at most. They use these in quadcopters. So anyway, that's just showing that it does actually do something.
Well, they use it in quadcopters to see how fast you're going
They're
when you're near the
they're,
ground or something, or
they're looking at the ground and they're using it to. The quadcopter I've got uses one to maintain
position.
position,
Oh, okay. It can tell if you're moving left and right.
Yeah,
Okay.
compensated.
and it can.
So it's got to have something to reflect off of,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The ground, hopefully.
So at home,
If it's flying upside down, that wouldn't.
Yeah, well,
at
you
home,
would
I
probably-
was having to use like a flashlight to get it to work, but that's not going to work here now. It's too much now.
Gonna dim the lights.
No.
Okay. Just to move some, but
There's a little teeny tiny camera. It's not great. So I'll load the other sketch on and we can see the image that it's trying to see.
How much lag between your movement and the dot movement is there?
I think it depends on how well it. I'm moving it pretty good,
Yeah. It's bouncing back and forth pretty
and
good.
it's bouncing back and forth very well. The this particular sketch, the guy is doing subtraction, so he's taking two images and he's comparing what's reflecting against what's not reflecting, which apparently is the best way to do this. It's not
and
nec-
this is the one that if you have a shiny surface, you're screwed.
Yeah, this is not necessarily the
You
only
need
way to
a
do it.
textured surface, and they do very well.
So is it an array that he's comparing to another array?
Well, I think that will be answered when I show what the image actually looks like.
Okay.
The little camera that's in there is 30 by 30. So it's like 30 pixels by, so it's,
I think it can
Not
be
a-
done with the camera. Just
Do
with
what?
the camera.
yeah, you can do it with a camera. You just need the right algorithms to,
Huh?
you did something with,
With sensor with the
yeah, and the laser,
no laser, no, was just a box with a slot and
just upload.
9 PTC sensors resistive sensors, and you move the box, and you have a analog value in one dimension, proportional to your movement. I can
And of
bring
course.
it. I have it in the basement somewhere. I have the project assembled.
It's in a box.
It's a box, a black box.
In the box. Everything's in a box.
The
So that's your 30 by 30 array?
Oh. So right now it's seeing the
Yeah.
It's like a heat shield.
the
You see
light.
the lamp up there, yeah, it looks like it anyway.
So now it's not seeing much of anything. I don't know what it's looking at, but it's seeing something.
What's the
refresh rate?
Come on.
It's a refresh rate. I think it's 1 second on this one.
this is the real frame, or it because the communication.
I had it at the house. I had it looking at. Oh, no! Now I gotta start this whole thing over again.
It looks too slow for me.
I don't know, depends
That's
on how
the-
fast
that's
you get
the
old like
sketch.
me,
The
it's probably
sketch
just
is-
right, huh?
Limiting it to
Probably can't get
to like a second.
I can't keep up with it.
Well, you attach it to your cane. You
Yeah,
see.
yeah, that's it.
I am using
For your
processing
walker.
and there's really no communication to
The
draw
the red dot was using processing. The image
Uh-huh.
is using just a Python.
Okay.
And I didn't make either one of these, but I got a good idea about what they're doing, I think. Especially the one where I'm moving the red dot around.
So where did you find these?
GitHub. Finally. Surprisingly, there's not as many projects about these as you'd think there would be. Alright, let's try this again, because
The trick is to not pull the cable out, right?
yeah, see if we can get it to show what appears to be a leather or something.
How about, what's the focal length?
We
Approximately?
don't know,
We don't know.
approximately. Approximately is we don't know.
There's Cheez-It. I think.
Okay.
There it says Cheez-It.
It's a baby.
It's
Is it a boy or a girl?
Yeah,
Where
it's
else?
hard to say.
At this point, I would just want to do
What do you have it pointed at now?
I have it pointed
It's a
at
boy.
a plus sign. See it. You compare the two images, though, and you can tell which direction something's
Design.
moving.
Yeah.
The distance and direction.
It's a really cool sensor. And I think I'm going to try, like for next week, I'm going to try to stick this on a robot where it might actually make more sense about what it's actually doing instead of
And see, it has stabilized there.
a little bit.
Now,
It's not moving either.
this
That's
board you bought,
Yeah,
but it,
they're like $7 a piece.
but it contains the sensor
Yeah.
off of a
Off of a mouse.
little mouse.
So if we had an old mouse, we'd have the same sensor built into it.
Yeah, I actually opened my mouse up. It's the exact same sensor.
How much is this sensor?
It's like $7.
Well, that's the sensor plus
Get an old
the.
mouse.
Somebody's ripping up old mice and selling pieces for
With the
$7.
lens too?
Yeah, it came with the
Mice
lens.
in the baseball.
Well, there's a little more here than a mouse, though. The lens assembly by itself is probably the most expensive part of the.
It came with the lens. It came with the little circuit board and then pen
Can I-
headers and.
Can you change the focus of this lens?
I
Does that
can-
actually rotate?
Not typically.
Yeah, I can pull the lens clear out and put a different lens in.
Can you adjust it?
Yeah,
Okay.
So
But-
you can actually
but-
use
Yeah,
most
there's
of
a
the
bit more than an old mouse there.
But
Most of the
at-
time with cameras that size, you replace the lens to get different focus distances.
that if I unscrewed that, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It only seems to want to really
so
work.
blurred, yeah. Blurred.
My cameras like this, they use the standard CCTV.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's the
lens,
same lens.
And you change the size for the ratio, and then you adjust it to focus it. It does both.
See, I honestly think that they stuck the wrong lens on there because all the pictures I've seen don't have the IR filter on it, and they don't have the they're like no megapixel kind of deals and whatever. And that one's a decent lens. It's a 3 megapixel with IR filters.
So
on it.
you've got the IR filter, or you removed the IR filter?
No, it's got the IR filter still on it. I tried a different lens though, and it pretty much did the same thing, but it's got I had the same kind
Yeah,
of
that's
lens.
a lot of hardware for $7.
I don't know. I could go down to Micro Center and buy a mouse for $5.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
buy
but
a
the-
computer for
Then
10.
the focus length is going to be 0.
But they're making mouses by the cajillion, where they're making these by the
Not cajillions.
Yeah, people are not buying them by that's for sure. They're not
Well-
buying them like at the rate they're buying miles.
The one that is actually meant for like the Pixie quadcopter.
Mhm.
That's like $23 for that stupid thing, and it's just it's just a slightly different on a slightly different board so that it mounts nicely in the quadcopter. But I think I'm going to stick that on a robot and see what I can make the robot do or not do.
These cameras, the actual camera itself is surface mount. It's a
Yeah.
surface mount device, and they got a little plastic frame built around it where you can stick the lens over it. I mean, it's that bad. The chip is surface mounted device with the top open.
So it's a chip-on-board structure. Basically, you have a PC board, and the chips.
Surface
solid
mount. What do they
surface
call that? The new stuff. It's not
CO
through plated. It's not through
It's not,
plated.
Well,
it's not
it's
chip on
sort of-
glass.
It's
I2S, right?
Surface mounted
I2S?
technology. Yep.
No,
And it's just a plastic
is,
frame that holds the
SPI.
lens in place.
SPI, right.
That's it.
yeah,
The ultimate cheap assembly.
Absolutely.
it's using an SPI. It's using the SPI bus too, so
Yeah.
it should be. It should actually be pretty fast. The sketch is to slow it all down so that you can see what it's doing. Once you see what it's doing, then you can go, oh, that's what it's doing.
Well, you can also probably change the sample rate, I would imagine, in the sketch. And probably the sample rate's embedded in the sketch someplace. isn't
Yeah, it is. It's in here somewhere. I saw it. It's set for there. Like there's the delay. We could probably change that and
Yeah.
make it.
What was that, 1 second delay?
1 second delay.
Yeah.
But the image, I mean, really.
What's your plan to put it in a robot and follow something or?
I was thinking.
Just- you-
I was
to
thinking
see-
more
see
of.
the-
I was thinking more of putting it in a robot and then going. If you look at like the processing sketch, it counts. So it's going 1,
Increase.
2, 3, 4, and then it resets 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it resets. So I was thinking, if you knew what the 1, 2, 3, 4 equated to the wheel rotation, you could
Those-
guesstimate how far
Was it 12 volt processor?
that robot
12
has
volt, 2
moved.
amp.
And it would be a guess.
wouldn't?
It wouldn't be a.
I've got.
And then you might be
a
able to
box
go
about this big up
into
here
your
sitting in
sketch
my
and
lab
say,
in California.
move, five
And I've got
five
it.
inches, and then if you know
That's true.
what the ratio is, you could go and have it count your 5 inches, and then it should be close, but it probably wouldn't be right.
Well, I'm still confused because you have
This is
an image the size
Cable, so
of
you
half
put a
of your
cable out of
matrix.
that. You
It's just
can
a big
waterproof it.
fuzzy ball.
It,
Okay.
it doesn't need to be like clear, because when you're
okay.
looking at like the light area in that
Yeah.
picture,
You gotta get
and you move it,
the bayonet
the
line
light.
up.
Yeah.
Do
Here.
you take
I
a
think
particular pixel
It's like
or
a
you
shape moving.
yeah,
The shape
You
can
gotta get a new
be
gasket.
blurry.
And I
looks
think
like
here,
that was
I
not
think
supposed
this
to
will help.
be
'Cause
cut. and it looks
If
like
you
that
bring
was
up the
supposed to
image.
be,
I'm working on it.
yeah, because I think what it is that it takes a snapshot of where it is.
Yeah, it does.
And then
I
it
haven't seen you in a
goes,
while.
It's a bayonet connector.
I haven't seen you in a while.
It'll take a snapshot.
Oh, there's
and
it is there.
then,
South Carolina.
There's my name. Okay.
yeah,
So-
yeah, so then it'll, as the pixels
Gotta get a new
change,
gasket
If you
for that.
look,
But there's the reset.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm
Manual
looking
reset.
at the light.
And power.
So if I move it,
Cool.
you see how the pixels shifted?
Yeah.
So it's taking one image and it's comparing it to the next image. And one image,
Okay.
it's
Is
like the doctor going, is it better on
it
number one?
or number two?
or
But
number
is
two?
it looking at every pixel?
It's just comparing what's moved. What's
What's
shifted.
changed.
yeah, I
What's
think,
changed.
I think what you almost have to have is that a recognition of what it's actually looking at. And I think that's what a mouse understands, because the mouse is shooting down and it's reflecting back. So as you move it, it has to sort of understand a little bit about what it's actually looking at. If you have a light shining in it and you start moving that light so down, it's going to understand that if it's a dot, if the top pixel is getting dark, the bottom pixel is getting, it knows the direction that it's moving.
If you leave that right where it was,
Yeah.
okay, and just don't touch it, just looking at the ceiling. Every time that there's a scan, you can see that there's a slight change in the image that's presented.
And when we started the processing sketch, there's two values called drift X and drift Y.
Exactly.
So you're tracking not only the position of the image, you're tracking what it thinks the drift is. So you subtract out
Right.
the drift,
Yeah,
and you can stabilize your image.
exactly. You're going to filter out that drift. I mean, it's noise. It's basically noise.
It's noise.
It's noise. You
So
filter it
you're
out.
looking at 900 pixels and all 900 are being compared to each other, is that correct?
I think
it's doing a picture comparison.
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah. It's
Where's
comparing.
the picture centered now? Where's the picture centered now?
Well, see, that's just it, there is no center
I think
up
it's
there.
a
There's
correlation.
a,
You have
about
an
a
image
20
and
by
you
25
produce,
high
But
white.
if you look at his calculation, it had X
move up,
and
down,
Y.
Right.
I
That's
bet you that's the
multiply
center.
with
That
all
was
of
a
them
different-
and decide which
That
one
was a different application.
more
Yeah.
He said he was
closely
doing that
or
in software.
to the image
You
and
make a
decide.
decision on that.
Yeah, he's doing that in software.
Yeah,
When
but
he-
you do
when
100
he's
if you want.
calculating the center.
It's
That's
one
one
way
way
to
of
do
doing
it.
it.
It's called picture
How many
and
ways of
the-
doing that is there?
16 by
Ray?
16 or something.
You
Okay.
pick
You can make a
comparison.
correlation of all the
the
points.
sensor's comparing the picture. It's just
different directions.
you interpret it
Identify
in the software.
He's just looking at the
Where
raw
the
picture.
image
He's
goes.
not doing any calculations.
goes.
Yeah,
Where it's all the
with
image.
this one, it's
Have
just
the
a
same
raw
value.
image.
Weight.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you're saying that there is a change in the raw image from one scan to the other. It must be looking at all 900 pixels in order to make that determination? Because there isn't one spot up there that you can pick and tell me that's the spot I'm looking at.
But it can.
No,
say-
I'm
Yeah.
looking at looking at the whole picture.
Yep. And it's saying, it could, for example, it could calculate the center of all those values and say the
It's the
center is
center
here,
mass.
or the weighted center or whatever is here, and if it moves, they can tell where the new center is, and that's the direction you're moving.
Yeah.
That's one simple way of doing it. Not so simple, but one way of doing it.
Yeah. The,
And that sensor has an IR filter, so it's not seeing the IR. It's
The
only
lens,
seeing
the lens has the IR filter on it
Well,
right now.
the point is the array is seeing just visible light, not IR.
Yeah, I think when they sent me this sensor, they sent me the wrong lens, which is part of the frustration I was having with it.
Okay, so just make certain I'm thinking along the same lines here. The comparison from frame to frame is not done in your software, it's done in a subroutine that's on the chip. And you don't have access to that, so.
Well, we've got access to the raw data.
Right, so you can do whatever you want with it. So
If
From,
you
from,
want.
from
Yeah,
the raw data, I can do pretty much whatever I
whatever you
want
want.
with it.
You can, if you want to take 100 images and compare those 100 images, you can do that. If you
Yeah,
have the
I could stick,
horsepower.
I could stick everyone, you see how it's painting that image that's working? So every one of those little paints that it does, you could put it in an array and just
Right.
start checking the array values. But it does it itself.
Yeah, it's a mouse thing, so the fixed calculation is in the sensor itself. Everything's in the sensor there.
So-
But he's picked out the raw value so he can display what it's doing.
Yeah, somebody smarter than me picked off the raw.
This is not the array that you see there is not the source of the calculation.
No.
The source of the calculation is buried on the chip.
See, the chip, see all these little values right here?
It'll be a multi-sensor.
All this,
You can do motion detection.
so you can go, what's the delta, what's the delta of the x, what's the delta of the y, what's the sum, what's the sensor itself is giving all those values if you want them, and then your software has to determine what to do with it.
Okay, now Art said that we're not looking at the data off of the chip itself.
Not when you're looking at that image.
Okay.
The image, you're not.
What
That's
does the
raw.
array look like? Do you have access to the array?
So in other words, I guess what he's saying, the 900 pixels, can you look at one pixel and see the intensity, for example, of that one pixel?
Well, I suppose if you dump that whole raw value into an array, you could.
Right. No, yeah. And he's asking, can you actually see that?
I suppose if
Right now, you can't. You don't.
No,
okay, that's what. Right.
no, right now I.
You have the
I'm not even
software
sure
you-
that.
But
I'm
you,
not
you
sure
have
that
a
the
sketch
Arduino.
that is sending all the values
Do
to
I?
other applications, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you can check in the code. Must be an array or something,
Well,
and
it
a
may not.
serial.
I don't know
He
if
thinks
it.
it's hard coded. It may be hard coded.
I don't
into
think
the-
it's sending.
No, but
I don't
hard
think
code
it's
is
storing it
something
in an
different.
array.
The Arduino is just in a sketch.
Well, no, I'm talking about it on the board itself. The board itself may be doing.
Yeah,
it.
but the Arduino is taking the values and sending to the application in the PC.
You think so?
Yeah, but it's doing it as raw
Well,
data.
okay.
You can look in the sketch.
It's not.
It's not. It's not picking the raw data up.
It's not storing it in an array. It's just sending the raw. It's just pulling the SPI data and just sending that right over to the serial port.
Okay, well, I saw earlier on your screen you had a delta X and a delta Y. Those are derived values from the raw data, because it's not going to interpret what we're seeing visually. It's going to take numbers and associate those.
Right.
The visual is just a representation of values out of an array, out of arrays.
Oh, so I guess the question is the raw question is all the raw data going into your program, or is it actually being processed on the chip at the chip level?
It's a data that you can use, but the chip already sends you.
That's okay. That's right.
specimens.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't have access to the individual pixel data.
I think you have, because the Arduino is sending them, is capturing them using the SPI
Mm-hmm.
and sending them by serial communication. Then there is a print something somewhere that is sending the each value.
It's sending.
It's got
Maybe
the
an
whole
interruptions.
thing with the calculations built in, but it does give you access
Right,
to the
okay,
data.
right, exactly, gotcha, right, right.
You have some serial print.
Well, yeah, but it's just printing the raw. There's no array anywhere.
No, but I mean, it may be an interruption. The SPI just receive a value, and the interruption just take the value and send serially.
Okay, it's time to just start packing anyway.
Yeah, I realize.
That one worked.
Is that supposed to be
The other
5
one did.
minutes?
Yep, 5-minute warning.
See, right here is where it sends it to the, but there's nothing there that it's, so it updates, and then it
No, no thanks.
shoves everything out to
I
the
appreciate
serial
it,
board.
no thanks. I don't have any use for it
Sketch
here.
is sending the values of the image.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually, I have one similar
That's
to
the
your,
sketch that's
this
doing that,
rectangular one you got.
but it's the same on this sketch
But
here.
it's got a few more LEDs on it.
Oh.
I gotta pack up. It's 7 o'clock. I gotta pack up.
I don't know if any of you guys had overheard anything. Me and Steve have been talking about doing some wireless work at my shop. Wireless antenna from one building to another building, and then putting in all the Ubiquity components.